Hello children, today we will be doing the sixth chapter in geography, land use. Now children, what do you understand by land use? As you know, land is used for various purposes. It may be agriculture, it may be residential places, transport, business, factories and various things. You might have noticed that in your house you have a particular room for particular things. Like you have a kitchen in which you can cook food. You have a bathroom. You have a bedroom. So in this way, you see that various things are kept in those particular places. Now, why do you think, children, all these things are placed in different places? Because these things has to be organized. If we place the things that has to be placed in the kitchen, in the bedroom, then it will be disorganized. There will be difficulties while moving around in the house. So that is why different lands are allotted to different uses. We will learn about all these in this lesson. Now children, we have two main types of land uses. One is the rural land use and the second one is the urban land use. Let's understand first about the rural land use. Now children, in rural areas, agriculture is the main occupation. You might be knowing this. As our country is the agro-based occupation. Now this influences the location for the rural settlements. Now children, what happens is that most of the rural places have agriculture as their main occupation. So that is why what happens is that wherever a residential place or a house is based, just beside that you will find a farm or a field. Mostly you will see that in rural areas, the availability of land is more and the population is less if you compare it to the urban areas. In rural areas, the extent of residential areas is less. You might have noticed this if you have any of your native places or village where houses are located far away from one place. Neighbors stay very far away and houses in the rural areas are very huge. Land use in the rural areas are classified in different forms. First one is the arable land. Now children, what is the arable land? This is the land which is under cultivation. Okay? Normally, this land is under individual ownership. That means one family owns this land. And this land can be classified as per the ownership. Okay? Who owns this land and the different types of agriculture or cultivation that is taken down in this land. This is called as the arable land. Second is the fallow land. Now children, this is also a agricultural land, but it is temporarily not in use. Now children, why do you think it is not in use? Because some of the crops need more nutrients. So that is why the farmers, what they do is that one year they cultivate a particular crop and the next year they leave that land to improve so that the fertility of the soil may not go down. So in this way, this land is used in some seasons and in some seasons it is kept empty. That is why this land is called as the fallow land. Now children, next is the forest land. You might all know that mostly in rural areas you find forests. Now children, this is a limited forest area, okay, which is also a type which is found in the rural areas. From this area, forest products, okay, there are various forest products that can be found in this land like firewood. What is firewood? Firewood is a wood that is collected for cooking. Then you also get gum and grass. Now, children, forests are very large, okay, and in those forests are very large trees are found. There are bushes, there are creepers and grasses. Now, children, next is the grassland or the pasture land. By looking at the picture itself, you might have understood that this land is mostly for the grazing of animals like cows, sheep, goats. This land is under the ownership of the village panchayat. Okay, he is the owner of this land or the government who is there in that village. Now, children, this land belongs to the entire village. Any family wants to go and graze their animals here, they can leave their animals here to eat the grass. Very little grassland is under individual ownership because mostly these kind of lands are owned by the government or the village panchayat. Now, children, next is the urban land use. Even in the urban land use, there are various uses in the cities or the urban areas. There has been an increase, as you know, that industrialization has come in, because of which there is a lot of urban settlements in the 20th century. Okay, in urban areas, land is used for different purposes. It's not like the rural areas. As in rural areas, you can find more and more land that is empty or mostly used for agriculture and residential areas. But in the city or the urban areas, you will see that the space is very less. You might have known this by the space that is there for the residential areas. There is tiny lanes. The houses also in the cities are very small. Population is very dense. So that is why, let's see what are the different land uses in the urban areas. First one is the commercial land use. Now, children, what is a commercial land use? Some parts in the cities are only used for commercial purposes. Like these places are used for shops, banks and offices. Okay, mostly businesses are being carried out in the commercial land use. We also have the central business district. The short form for it is CBD, which is a business district where lot of business is being carried out. For example, in Mumbai, we have a place called as BKC, which is in the Bandra Kurla complex. In that place, there are various types of businesses that take place. Next is the residential use. Now, children, you, me, and all the people staying in the cities, we all stay in these land use, okay, in the cities. Now, here the main land use is for the residential purpose, that is for the staying or building of houses, okay. There are various buildings, various societies that are built here. Since the population is more in urban areas, residential land has increased in the urban areas. Next is the transport land use. Now, children, everywhere transportation is necessary. So, even in cities, we have transportation which is there as a land use. These are the facilities are important for the movement of goods and for the people. Now, children, in cities, we have various types of transport like railway, we have metro, monorails, then we have private, vehicles, we have government vehicles which help us move from one place to another. Hence, in cities, roads and railway lines, station, petrol pumps, depots are in large areas are occupied in these kind of places. Now, children, under urban land use itself, we have public utility area. Now, what is this? Now, children, for the various needs of the population living in the urban areas, there are some services that are provided by the government, that is the local government. Now, here the area under these services come under the category where we can find hospitals, post offices, police stations, police grounds, schools, colleges, universities, etc. So, public utility area is used for all these things like hospitals, schools, colleges, universities, police stations. Now, children, this land use is under the category which is very important because this is mostly used for the public's development. Next, we have the recreational land use. Now, in cities, some areas have been reserved specially for entertainment. Now, you might have gone to many places, right, in the city for entertainment. It may be malls, it may be resorts, gardens, or even swimming pools, cinema theaters. So, recreational land is used for these purposes. The last one in the urban land use is the mixed land use. Now, children, in some areas, we find these land that are used together. Now, what happens is that there are various uses that are put together. That is why it is called as a mixed land use. Like residential areas and entertainment areas are there together. On the maps, special colors are used to indicate such areas. Like for the residential areas, red color is given. For the commercial areas, blue color. For the agricultural area, yellow color is given. And for the forest areas, green color is allotted. Now children, we are finished with the rural and the urban land use. Now apart from that, we have another land use, that is the transitional areas and the suburbs. In rural settlements, what happens is that they start outside the boundary areas of urban settlements. That means the place which is after the city, okay, is called as the suburbs. We stay in the suburbs. But the intermediate area is between is called the transitional area. Now children, in this area, there is a blend. Now what happens in this area, that is a transitional area, is that people, that area is a mixture of urban and rural areas. Okay. In these areas, land is used as mixed. Like there are cultural activities in a mixed type. Now children, over a time, okay, when a city is being formed, after a very, very long time, okay, these regions become suburbs. Now, right where we stay are the Mumbai suburbs. Now, city is towards the island city. You can see that in the picture given here. Okay, this is the Mumbai city in yellow. Okay, and we stay here in the suburbs. Now, city began from here. Okay, and then as years went on, the suburbs started forming. Now children, what are suburbs? Suburbs is the mixture of rural and urban areas. Okay. Next is planned cities. Now children, most of the times what happens is that as after the industrial revolution, okay, when there was industrial revolution and people started building up cities and everything started becoming very modern and globalization started occurring. Okay, so there was urbanization on a very, very large scale. Okay, throughout the world, everywhere, in every part of the world, there was urbanization because of industrial revolution. Now, what happened is that since this urbanization was not planned properly, okay, so that is why many of the cities were not, built properly. Okay, like there was school somewhere there was marriage hall, somewhere there is roads. So this is not called as proper planning. To build a proper city, you need to plan. So because industrial revolution came in, cities were just built, okay, without planning. That is why all the cities, most of the cities in the world are not, arranged properly. So what happened is that as there was more and more jobs available in the cities, people from different places started coming in the cities, and the houses were built anywhere. So that is why the area in the cities start becoming overpopulated. There was lot of migration that was occurring, so that people were getting employment. Now, because as a result, the availability of land is always a problem in cities. You might have noticed this, that in cities, the places are very, very small. The houses that are also available are very small. If you compare it with the rural areas, the houses in the rural areas are very huge and people living in it are very less. Whereas in cities, the houses are smaller. Now, children, limited land, varied land uses, and increase in cities resulted in the thought of having planned cities. Because even in Mumbai, if you see, this city is not planned. Okay, you can see anywhere anything is being built. Now, because all this problem was arising, okay, because the land was not being available, the government thought to plan the cities for the future. Even before a city grows, its land use is planned before. You can see that here, these kind of plannings, okay. This is called how you plan, okay, like the rail line will be here, the rivers are this side, the residentials will be here, the industries will be somewhere else. So this is the way how a blueprint of cities are planned. Okay, this is the model of any city. Okay, if they are planning for a city, this is a kind of model, like a river is passing and there are buildings, there are residential buildings, there are business buildings, different type of buildings. Okay, now children, which are the cities that are planned? They are Singapore. Okay, Singapore is a planned city. Then we have Seoul in South Korea. Then Zurich in Switzerland. We have Washington DC in USA. Brasilia in Brazil. Chandigarh, Bhubaneswar in India. These are all the examples of planned cities. Okay, all the roads, where the houses will be built, everything was planned before and then the city was built. Now children, in front of you is a pie chart, okay, in which the land use in India and Japan is shown. So the yellow color shows suitable for agriculture. Okay, it is showing the land that is suitable for agriculture. Red color in both the countries shows permanent agriculture. Okay, land that is under permanent agriculture. The green color shows forest areas in both the countries. Blue color shows permanent pastures, that is the grassland for animals or cattle. And the oranges or the dark yellow shows others, okay, other land use. Now you might have realized by looking at this pie chart that the percentage under various land uses are different. You can see somewhere green is more, somewhere yellow is more. So in different countries, the land uses are different. Like in Japan, if you see, the permanent agriculture is more, the green color is more, that is 68.5. Whereas in India, if you see, the yellow color, which is for agriculture, is very much, okay, the percentage there is very much, a lot. So in Japan, we have forest areas in a large number, and in India, we have agricultural land use in a large number. As compared to that in India, the percentage of land under forest is very low. If you see in India, the green color is only 23.1, whereas in Japan it is 68.5. Similarly, for agriculture in Japan, it is just 11.7% of the land, whereas in India it is 52.8%. So in this way, we understand that in different countries and in different states and cities, land uses differ. It is not the same everywhere. Now children, the next part of this lesson is the 712 extract, which is also called as Sat Bara. Now children, what is this? To make it easy for you all to understand and for the general public, this is a land record, and the changes that occur in the land records are maintained in a uniform pattern, and with minimum paperwork in village. Form number 1 to 21 throughout Maharashtra is used. Now children, village form number 7 is the records of rights. Okay, there is a form which is number 7, okay, in the village. So this form is for the record of rights of a land, okay. And there is another form which is form number 12, in which it contains the information regarding crops, okay. Now these two forms, that is 7 and 12, are combined together, okay, which is called as a 712 extract or the Sat Bara extract, okay. Now this both are combined and are used as the land information. Now the land that is under the utilization, we have seen how land is used in different purposes, for forest areas, for residential areas, for agriculture. Now who owns this land? How will we know? In the private as well as in the public. Now in order to understand and know which land belongs to whom, this 712 extract is used, especially in the village areas. Now what happens is that land registration is made in the government by the revenue department, okay. Revenue department are the ones who collect land or property taxes. Now all the information about the land that is owned by a particular person can be got, okay. The information about that land can be obtained from this extract, that is the 712 extract. One can get under whose information the land is, okay. Like suppose if you want to know the information of that land, if you look at this 712 extract, you will get the entire information of that land, okay. The 712 extract is a kind of mirror. Like when you look at the mirror, how you can see yourself. So in the same way, when you look at this extract, that is 712, you can know and understand without going to that place that what this land is, or what, for what purpose is this land used for. 712 is mostly for village areas, especially for agricultural lands. Now the register of the revenue department keeps a record of the details of the ownership, like the family, okay, whom does the land belong to, the family name, then the status, or did they anytime take any loans, or did they repay their loans, is there any ownership transfer, or the area of different crops, what crops do they grow in that land, okay. So in this way, this is a very simple, okay, don't get confused. This is a kind of extract in which all the information about a particular land is being kept, okay. Which crops are grown, how much taxes they pay, did they take any kind of loan, did they give the loan back. So all this information is there in this 712 extract. Now these village forms are available with the Talati office. Now what is a Talati office? Talati office is an office in which it includes, what are the duties they do? They include maintaining the records of land and crop, okay. So if you want any information about your land or somebody's land, then you can go to this office and they will give you all the information of the tax, of the land records, of the rights of the land, whom does this land belong to. Now how is this 712 extract read? Now if you look at this picture, towards your right hand side, which is the 712 extract, you will see that there is class occupant. Now there is two kind of class occupants. First is class occupant 1 and second is class occupant 2. Class occupant 1 means that the land over which the ownership rights are available through generation. That means, like suppose there is a land and that owner has a son or a daughter. So that land is owned by his son or daughter because of his family, because of ancestral property, not because of the government. The government has not given them the land. It is the family's land itself. Okay. And class occupant 2 means the land is being given by the government to the farmers or the people who do not have land. Okay. The first is the land is of the family itself. Okay. It is the ownership of the family which is passed on from one generation to another. So, and the second is class occupant 2 is the land which belongs to the government. But if any population or citizen is landless, does not have a land, so government gives them the land for agricultural or residential use. Now these kind of land, that is occupant class 2 land, can be sold to anyone. Okay, can be kept on rent, can be given as a charity because it belongs to the government. That is occupant class 2. Now just below, under the assessment in the form, you can see under total, you can see assessment. Under assessment, the amount of tax that is, on the land is given. How much tax do this particular land has to pay? In towards your right hand side in the form, you can see others' rights. Now here the names of other joint holders, like suppose a land is there and many people are owning that land. Okay, the land is in two people's name. So that is why, what is the other person's name on whose name that land is? So this also shows the status of loans taken for agriculture and whether they have paid or not. Next is the property card. Now children, 712 extract was mainly for the village areas and property card is basically for the urban areas. Now what happens in this? This is for the ownership of non-agricultural land, okay, in which there is information recorded on the property card. This document shows ownership rights and the area of property is made available for urban land records. Okay. It has the following information. What are the different information that you can find in this property card? You can find information of the survey number in the city. You can find the plot number, the amount of tax that is paid, okay, area of the property that is assessed, and the rights to access, etc. Okay, all the information that is necessary of that particular land is found in the property card. Children, two things you have to keep in mind. 712 extract is for the urban rural areas for agricultural and non-agricultural land. Property card is for only non-agricultural land and specially for the urban areas. Now children, you can see a graph in front of you which is showing the general land use and its changes in India in 1990 to 2011. Now there are certain questions that you need to answer looking at this graph. So there are different colors that are given for different bars. The first question is, which are the land uses of 1990 to 91 that show decline, okay, which is become less in 2010 to 11, and what could be the reason for this? Now children, if you look at this graph, the total agricultural land, that is the green color, okay, the green color which is the tallest in all the years, okay, that has reduced, okay, the total agricultural land use and the other non-agricultural land use, that is in color yellow, that has reduced in 2010 and 11. Now what might be the reason? It is because urbanization has occurred. As you know, after industrialization, cities has grown. So because cities have grown, the agricultural land has reduced. Next question is, which type of land use is the maximum? What could be the impact of this on India's environment? Now, if you see, agricultural land use is the maximum. If you see, the green color bar is the tallest one. So, agricultural land use is maximum in all the years. Now, this indicates that India is an agrarian country. Okay, most of the occupation is agriculture in the country, and the environment is comparatively more natural. Last question is, can a decline in the area under agriculture equated with food shortage? Now, a decline in the area under agriculture cannot be equated with food shortage. With modern technology, the maximum agricultural food production can be undertaken in limited areas. Now children, there are various factors that affect land use. What are they? We have rural land use and urban land use. Now in rural land use, what are the different things that affect the land use? First is the climate, okay? Then we have soil, type of slope, irrigation facilities, natural resources, government policies. These are all the factors that affect in the rural areas. In the urban areas, the factors that affect land use are location and site, where this place is located, then natural resources, availability of natural resources, then housing development policies. There are different policies that are developed by the government. Then how the transportation routes are, then industrialization, trade and commerce, playgrounds and entertainment facilities, and government policies. These are the different factors that affect land use in rural and urban land use. Now, beside this, you can see a picture where you can see a satellite image of a land. Okay, you can see a satellite image of Moda village, okay, which is a taluka Hinga district in Nagpur. Now you have to find the changes that have taken place in the pattern over the time. So the first picture shows is 2003. The year is 2003. The second picture shows in 2010. And the third picture is of 2017. Now children, the satellite image of Moda village in Hinga Taluka in Nagpur, it shows that the agricultural land use in the village has declined. Okay, if you see in the first picture, it is green, then it becomes light green, and then it becomes completely brown. So this shows that the amount of agriculture that was taken or carried out has become less. It has declined from 2010 to 17. Now it also shows that the residential use, land use in the village has increased. You can see in the first and the second picture, the houses were less. It was showing more and more green. Lands were under agriculture more. But as years went on, in 2017, you can see more and more houses were built. It also shows that urbanization, increasing population are all the factors that are responsible for the changes in the pattern over time in the village. Which village? Monda village. So, in this way, in many other villages in the country and in the world, agriculture is declining, the cities are increasing. So children, we have now completed with the explanation for this lesson. Thank you for listening. Take care.